so many people, of course, have pointed out, and it is true, it's a major plot hole that, well, why did they just ride the bird to Mordor? It could have been 30 minutes total.
Well, folks, my friend and colleague Matt Walsh has another hot take about the movies. Apparently, he is not happy with Lord of the Rings.
And I like those movies, by the way, but...
Okay, I can't listen to any more of this. This is ridiculous. So today, we are going to go through Matt Walsh's critique here. We're going to tear it apart, piece by piece. This video is sponsored by our friends over at Birch Gold. So, I'll be honest with you, I have not read all the books. I know, it's a shocker because I've read so many books, but I grew up on the movies. The movies are, to my mind, perhaps the greatest film achievement of the 21st century. I watched them multiple times in the theaters. I did own all of the Blu-ray DVDs that Matt is talking about. I've seen all of the extended editions. I've seen the behind-the-scenes components. I've seen all of the little comic relief areas on the DVDs. The funniest one is Elijah Wood being pranked by the other hobbits by being told that he's part of a German interview. That one's fantastic.
When will you wear wigs?
There's so much good stuff, Lord of the Rings related. And so I take personal offense to what Matt Walsh is doing right here.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
Well, when we do a take on something, we go as deep as humanly possible. So I wanted to bring on the actual experts. First, we have on an expert on the literary dimension of Lord of the Rings, direct from a hobbit hole. That man is Dr. Malcolm Guite from Cambridge University. Malcolm Guite, welcome to the show. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Pleasure to be with you. I'll talk about talking to anyone. I'm an enthusiast.
I would have been able to tell that even if you had not told me. I know that Matt wasn't actually critiquing the books, he was critiquing the movies. And so we had on a movie expert as well, critical drinker. Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, except I can't deal with the fact that there's a person who works for our company who has such stupid thoughts about Lord of the Rings.
I mean, Matt seems like a nice guy, but man, he has some bad takes on media, and I think this is up there with the worst of them.
The theatrical release of Return of the King was about 3.5 hours. It was about what The Brutalist is. And then there are all these extended cuts that are 4.5 hours long, which is just obscene. That's offensive. I'm offended. If I pick up the Blu-ray, not that I watch Blu-ray anymore, but and it says 4.5 hours long, I'm offended by that.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
I've never held with that complaint about any movie. It should be as long as the plot dictates. And in this case, there is an awful lot of plot to get through, so these movies deserve to be as long as they are. In fact, the theatrical cuts aren't even long enough. It's the extended cuts that you really want for the proper experience.
Oh no, like the first one where you're just going around Hobbiton. I love that long. Like I could have watched the whole movie of that. So no, they do get a bit longer as he goes along. I don't think the movies are too long. I mean, I could have done with more. Tom Bombadil is a whole other subject.
The entire series of Lord of the Rings is over 1,000 pages. I mean, it is a very, very long book. The movie doesn't even cover everything that's in the book, and it's still long, and it moves quickly. I mean, it's one of those movies where you finish Fellowship, and you're surprised that it's over already.
Oh my God. That's the whole thing.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think part of the issue is that it's a fantasy novel, or, it's based on a fantasy novel. And, fantasy stories stand or fall based on the world that they create. It's got to be a living, breathing, believable world that's got depth to it. And that's the thing that the Lord of the Rings movies do so well. It really gets you invested in this world, and it helps you to understand that what you're seeing is just one small story in a much grander saga that's been going on for thousands of years. There is so much history there. There is so many different cultures, so much that's going on outside the scope of this narrative. It conveys all of that, and I think that's what allows people to get so immersed into these movies so effectively. And of course, it takes a lot of time to do that.
I'm afraid I've made a great mistake in making my sequel too long and complicated and too slow in coming out. It is a curse having the epic temperament in an overcrowded age devoted to snappy bits.
A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Listen, there's a lot of uncertainty out there. Smart investors prepare ahead of time for that uncertainty. Just like keeping a life jacket handy before you set sail. That's why a lot of people are adding gold to their portfolios, leading to record gold prices in early 2025. Now, there's still a great opportunity for you to diversify and strengthen your financial future amid the market volatility. When it comes to diversifying into physical gold, I personally trust Birch Gold. They're the people I turn to for my own gold investments. Their specialty is helping you convert your existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA backed by physical gold without any out-of-pocket costs. One 5-star review says it perfectly. Knowledgeable, helpful, non-pressure. Well, those are the reasons why I've stood behind Birch Gold for years. They deliver what they promise. And I tell you that when you call them up, you should actually ask all of your questions, get informed answers. And then once you feel comfortable, then think about diversifying into precious metals. Get your free info kit on gold by texting the word BEN to the number 989898. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews, text BEN to 989898. Let the experts at Birch Gold help you secure your future today. With gold in uncertain times, precious metals, always a good investment. Go check them out right now. Text BEN to 989898.
The movie really ends with Frodo and Sam. They're stranded on the rock, and the lava's all around. And then the bird comes and picks them up. And as so many people, of course, have pointed out, and it is true, it's a major plot hole that, well, why didn't they just ride the bird to Mordor?
Fool of a took. Throw yourself in next time and rid us of your stupidity.
The eagles are a dangerous machine. I have used them sparingly, and that is the absolute limit of their credibility and usefulness. The alighting of a great eagle of the misty mountains is absurd. It also makes the later capture of Gandalf by Saruman incredible, and spoils the account of his escape.
And what he's doing is he's exploring the way a thing could be done well, and the way the same thing could be abused. The way a person could flourish, or the way a person could be corrupted in themselves.
Take it, Gandalf! Take it!
No, Frodo.
You must take it!
You cannot offer me this ring.
I'm giving it to you!
Don't tempt me, Frodo.
So if you think about it, how do you be the kind advising wizard who actually has more power than the people he's advising, but doesn't want to exploit them? Well, Gandalf is an example of that. But Saruman is the counter-example, and you kind of know that Gandalf could degrade into Saruman if he's not careful. There are various points where Gandalf could have had the ring, and he says, no, you know.
I will use this ring from a desire to do good. But through me, it would wield a power too great and terrible to imagine.
Would Zimmerman think that he had improved the effect of a film of, say, The Ascent of Everest by introducing helicopters to take the climbers halfway up in defiance of probability? It would be far better to cut the snowstorm and the wolves than to make a farce of the arduous journey.
If you watch the behind the scenes stuff, shooting, especially Fellowship, it was miserable. Like, they were slogging through snow, rain, mud, but it creates this beautiful, believable world. Again, it gets you immersed in it. If it was done now, it would be done like on a soundstage at Marvel, and they'd have a volume screen around them. And, it would just be such a flat, uninteresting, uninvolving experience.
You could have cut the whole thing with the ghost soldiers, and that would have saved you 40 minutes or so, probably. And then you lose this massive plot hole, which is that the ghost soldiers show up and they just go through, they're like swarming army ants, and they easily kill everybody. They kill all the bad guys and the battle's over. And they're able to easily kill everyone because they're already dead, they're invincible.
The only thing I'll side with him on, to some extent, is the Army of the Dead in Return of the King was a little bit of a Deus Ex Machina. In the books, they're not as involved, and a lot of the things that they do kind of happen off screen. They do kind of come in and save the day a little bit, and it oversimplifies the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, sadly, but it's what you have to do. Otherwise, the movie would be like 10 hours long.
And then at the end of that, Aragorn is like, oh, you've proven yourself in battle, ghost soldiers. Be free now. How do they prove themselves? It required no courage for them to fight that battle. They were already dead, and they're hanging out in a cave somewhere for eternity.
They believe in nothing. They answer to no one. They will answer to the King of Gondor.
So, this analysis is really useful, but I need more dunking on Matt. So you said you've seen a lot of Matt's hot takes. On the list of hot takes, where does this hot take fall?
This has got to be up there. I mean, if you're going to make fun of any movie trilogy and be a detractor for it, the worst target you can possibly pick is The Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's like universally beloved.
What are people missing if they've only seen the films, which are really terrific?
Okay, I think the films are great. So first thing you'd be missing is the the language itself. But the second thing you'd be missing, which is much more important in a way, is your own imagination, your internal imagery. Great as Peter Jackson is, he's giving you his personal Peter Jackson director's cut. But your internal imagining of that book might be even better than Jackson. And even if it isn't, it's yours. I think, when you imagine your Gandalf or your Elrond, or much, much more importantly, not only your Sam, but your Frodo, but also the darker characters, your idea of who Saruman is, or even Sauron himself. What you're doing is you're drawing on deeper images from inside yourself about good or evil, about a true path or a false one. And in a sense, it's much better to draw them up from within than to have them projected from without.
You're always going to get a richer experience from reading the books, and I think I would always advocate for people to read more anyway, so I think you get a much deeper story from the books, so I think that is better, but I think these are the best movie adaptations that you could probably hope for.
All I can say, if you haven't read it all, is lucky you have a great pleasure in store whenever that rich and golden time arrives when you can get really absorbed in it.
Well, I think it's apparent that Matt couldn't be any more wrong, but I'm sure Matt will have a fresh, terrible movie take next month, and we'll have to do this all over again. And I know many of you are wondering when I'm going to just take apart Matt's awful take on The Dark Knight. The answer is soon. It's coming.